deported or people the administration has targeted as it tries to ramp up its immigration enforcement. And so you are seeing some pushback from Republicans in Congress, Hispanic Republicans, groups that really want the White House to be targeted with its enforcement efforts, because at the end of the day, they realize they don't want scenes of ICE going into churches and schools and workplaces across the country and having that pushback in their districts.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because these harrowing scenes of parents being ripped away from their kids that have been flooding the airwaves and social media, that doesn't seem to be what moved Trump to change his mind. At least that's not what he's saying. But do you think it's impacting the politics of being able to continue with this kind of aggressive enforcement?
Well, absolutely. These images of, even a U.S. senator in California being expelled from a press conference where one of Trump's cabinet members, his Homeland Security Secretary, was speaking, and being kind of thrown to the floor and briefly detained. Those images really make this a complicated issue for the White House. In one sense, they are able to try to paint with a broad brush, going against Democrats who they say are obstructionists when it comes to trying to carry out the president's vision and agenda. But I think you see a lot of people who are going to see those types of images and say it just adds fear. It coarsens the norms that we have come to expect in terms of the separation of the branches of government, and basically the Trump administration trying to roll over not just the courts but also Congress when it comes to enforcing his view of how immigration should be handled in the country. And so I certainly think you're going to see a lot of criticism of that in the days ahead.
This isn't the first time that Trump has reversed course. He did it on tariffs, now doing it on immigration. But it strikes me that immigration is such a central issue to his base supporters. Does he run the risk of really inflaming his base on an issue that's so important to them?
Well, I think that he has already delivered so much on the issue of immigration that if he were to, to totally, not to say that he would, but if he were to totally abandon course and say, we've already done what we've come here to do on immigration, I think a lot of his base would be pleased, just based on the strong force that we've seen and the aggressive tactics that we've seen. Now, of course, he's not going to pivot overnight and abandon these large-scale efforts. He could, try to moderate them a little bit, maybe try to focus more on shoring up the border and less on, these enforcement operations in the interior of the country. But certainly, Trump is not going to change. Trump has campaigned for, the better part of a decade, going back to his first run for president on this issue. This was a hallmark of both of his presidential campaigns, and is certainly a centerpiece of his second-term agenda.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The Trump administration says it wants 1 million people deported per year or taken into ICE custody, but that kind of seems like it could present some problems for the big industries that rely on that immigrant workforce. But we'll continue to follow this story. For now, Jesse Burns, thanks so much.
Thank you.